Y'all are getting all of the background noise. Somebody's just outside aimlessly banging a 2x4 for nothing. Hold on. Close the window. You're not fixing anything. Sorry. Is this a podcast? Am I doing it right? Is this it? Anything's a fucking podcast. Y'all will listen to anything to break the monotony. But we got over the hump. This is the second episode. This is the well, every episode's the first episode, but this is the second. Yeah, we're still doing that. We're still doing that. I don't care. I don't care that it's weird. I'm weird. I told you that. I'm gonna keep this intro short because I'm sorry. I'm so scatterbrained. Like, don't listen to Eminem before you do anything. Like, you can't listen to Eminem before you do anything. Like, he's amazing, but it's like, where can I listen to this? He has some line about like Mike Pence, like hold on, you know I'm gonna do it. Vice President Mike Pence sucks on my dick. I don't know what he said, but that shit was just like, huh? Like, Eminem, calm down, Eminem. Vice President Mike's pick sucking my dick with a dyke chick in a vice grip. Like, you have to chill. Vice President Mike Pence suck on my dick with a vice grip and a dyke chick and a vice grip and a blind bitch. Like, whoa, hold on. Excuse me? Then I take my ball sack and stretch it like a mic. Like, yo, what? Is this nigga rapping about genital mutilation? I can't crank this at the kickback. Vice President Mike Pence. I can't even say that. Vice President Mike Pence. Fuck it. Then I take my ball sack and stretch it on a white fence. Like, what? Then I take my ball sack and bang it with a spike wrench. What? Anyway. So I can't even think. But like I said, we're gonna keep these intros short because I know what y'all were saying. Like, and I got a little bit of the feedback. Like, yo, you're really wrapping us up with this long ass intro. Like, dog. You know, it was the first episode. You know what I say to people who say, oh, you talk too long in the intro for the first episode? You know what I say to them? I say, you're right. It probably was too long. But, you know, it was the first episode. And I'm like, even though every episode is the first episode, that was literally the first episode. And I got to give you a good intro. It's the first intro. So, this episode is great. I fucking love this episode. We did, you know. And ironically, the episode is about procrastination, and I procrastinated on recording this intro hard, which just shows that talking about things and planning them out and having the right, viewpoint on something or perspective. You can talk about something for an hour on a podcast, and actually putting it into practice is a completely different story. It's crazy. It's like using almost a completely different part of your brain. Like, why is it so hard to practice what you preach? It's weird. But we made it, and we're here. And this is the first episode of the Ego Hour. We're learning. Thank you for the feedback. Holy shit. I'm saying holy shit like it was a little bit of feedback, but thank you. Regardless of how much feedback it is, it's difficult to make mistakes openly. Like, this is the thing about this forum, is like, you have to be okay with making mistakes openly. So that means like saying words wrong or using them in the wrong way, openly being wrong about something that you're saying. Speaking of which, we got corrected from the first episode that pollen is not bee cum. It's actually more so flower cum. So, cum is cum, though. Hey, you know what I say, bro. Cum is cum. I'm gonna get that tatted. But yeah, we're here. So, second episode. hopefully this is short enough for you fucking dirtbags. and we're here. Vice President Mike Pence suck on my dick, and I liked it with a dyke chick in a vice grip. Then I take my ball sack and twist it. No, don't do anything to your ball sack, Eminem. And then don't do it on a trap cadence either. Like, don't do it, but then don't do it on a trap beat. Like, I don't want to hear genital mutilation on a trap beat. I'm sorry. Anyway, second episode, Evil Ego Hour podcast with co-host Cody Manawi. Let's get it! Hello. We tried this. Alright, fuck it. Cut the song. We're back.
Play it.
We're back. No, cut the song. We're back. Evil Ego Hour podcast with co-host Cody Manawi, pretty boy co-host Cody Manawi.
You say Cody Manawi.
Listen, this is
Manassas.
I'm not even going to say how many times we tried to record this, but
it's your boy Cody. Straight.
We're in the house. We have not lost the zest for the pod, even though we've tried to record it numerous times and keep experiencing technical difficulties. I'm not even going to talk about that. Persistence is key. We all know that.
You better be persistent.
How are you doing today?
Weak bitch. I'm doing good.
You alright? You sound like you have like a little twinkle in your eye and a little spark in your voice.
I got some yeah, I'm having a good morning.
Yeah. I know you did a little bit of training.
Actually, I didn't do training yet.
You didn't?
Not yet. It's this afternoon. Actually.
They changed it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of scheduling stuff. No, scheduling.
Did a little bit of Wing Chun. He came in here with a satin do-rag. It doesn't really matter.
Wing Chun.
Wing?
Southern style
like chicken
kung
wing?
Food. Wing, as in chicken wing.
Southern style chicken wings chung?
Southern style kung fu.
Now that sounds like... So what is Southern style kung fu? Just like racist karate?
It's like kung fu for niggers.
We are experiencing technical difficulties. Ignore everything you just heard.
After that extremely crude, well, we don't want to let you guys in behind the curtain, but we actually had to check in right there because we were experiencing some technical difficulties. So, pretty boy co-host Cody Manawi, hold on, let me get that right. Pretty boy co-host Cody Manawi is here under...
I like the way that sounds.
Yeah,
co-host Cody.
Yeah, I actually practiced that.
Co-host Cody.
A few times co-host Cody. Pretty boy co-host Cody Manawi. He's here, and he has a different recording device now. He's recording with some headphones. So
good old Apple headphones. Kind of love them, man.
And I can't even hear what it sounds like, but that's fine.
Sure.
So we had an original topic that we were going to go into. This was actually going to be the ego episode. We're going to get knee deep into like the overall theme of the podcast, the Evil Ego Hour. But since the recording isn't exactly the way that I want it to be, and you know how
peculiar.
I am. I talked about this on the first episode, even though every episode is the first episode. I talked about this. I need to have things right if we're going to do it. So we're actually gonna change and we're gonna freeball it a little bit because I did want to talk about. Yeah, you're actually kind of nasty with that. You gotta start putting your balls away when I'm around. Like you kind of just walk around with just your balls out, and it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I like to wrap my
cool.
penis underneath my balls, and just let the balls take the
it's
driver's seat.
It's kind of odd. But I did want to talk about procrastination. Like, I wanted to talk about...
Can we talk about this later?
Now we're gonna see. That's why he makes the big bucks. That's why his cornrows glisten in the sun because of shit like that. Yeah, man. I want to talk about procrastination, like where it comes from, why it's so prevalent
Sorry.
in our
Say it again. Why
amongst
it's
young
so what?
people,
You said why it's so
and
prevalent.
not even amongst young people, but if you don't nip it in the bud when you're young, and you get old, and there's nothing worse than an old ass person who keeps talking about what they're gonna do and doesn't do it.
I
Like,
hate a I'm about to
I'm
ass
I'm
nigga.
about to ask nigga, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm about to I'm getting ready to.
Like, yeah, I'm about to get this
I
business
don't
together,
want
bro.
to.
Like,
I've heard that so much. I don't even
actually about
respond
to
with
start
excitement
like
anymore.
selling houses, real talk. I'm like, nigga, how are you gonna start selling houses? You
Yeah,
don't
how you
have a
about to
real
do
estate.
that?
You have a lot of steps to cover before you get to that.
Yeah, but not
But
to get too sidetracked.
yeah, but
I think procrastination comes from, and there's been a debate like in my head and with people I've talked to about this, and it's hard to come to a conclusion of whether procrastination is stemming from fear or if it's stemming from laziness, and are those kind of the same thing, or like, let's just talk about that. I mean,
well,
what is the difference between fear and
and
laziness as it relates to procrastination?
Well, I think when it comes to procrastination, I feel, and I've heard this somewhere, so I'm kind of just recycling this information poorly, but I feel like it's more so fear. I feel like you identify more pain with whatever you need to do, or whatever you're supposed to do, quote unquote, whatever you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You identify more pain with that than whatever you're doing in the moment. So,
But why does something that gives you more excitement also create
I
this
feel
pain?
like, well, it's because
We're usually excited about the things that we want to do. The things that we procrastinate on are actually the things that
we need to be doing,
that
or
we
the
either
things
need
that's
to be
gonna
doing, or
push us
things that are
forward.
going to put us in a place we need to be. So why are these things that should be exciting for us, or sometimes are exciting for us, why do we still end up
normally
procrastinating?
Whatever we're supposed to be doing is the realm of the unknown. So whatever you're doing right now, or all right, say you're supposed to be writing 2 hours a day, and if you're writing 2 hours a day, you know that you might be able to put together a really good story, and if you put together a really good story, then other people will notice it, and then they might become fans of your work. You know what I mean? All of that stuff is stuff that you haven't dealt with before. It's the realm of the unknown. It's a lot easier to just sit there and eat chips because you know what's going to happen if you do that. Like, it's more certainty with
Barbecue
procrastination.
chips.
Like, that's why it brings up more. You identify more pain with stepping outside the box and stepping into the realm of the unknown than whatever you're doing at the current moment.
Yeah, but sometimes it's like at least when I procrastinate, one thing that I do by procrastinating is putting something that's less important over what's more important, and I just do like a simpler task because it's like a little bit easier to.
Well, I wouldn't even call that procrastinating because you're still making a step towards something.
But I'm making a step towards something, but I'm not making a step towards whatever the thing is that I'm putting off until later. So I think it's still procrastinating, even though I'm still being productive.
But that's like healthy procrastination.
I mean,
because
yeah,
if you,
but procrastination
I would suggest people who have chronic procrastination to do what you're doing. At least do something that makes a step towards something, so that it'll translate. Maybe it'll trickle down to like the thing that you actually want to achieve.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's
like clean your house. If if you feel like you're procrastinating on something that's bigger, start small and just clean something up.
Yeah, but I still think it's like you're diverting your energy and your attention away from what you initially were trying to do. So although I'm being productive towards my life, I'm not really being productive towards my goal that I'm
Right.
supposed to be focusing on.
So it is
So
a form of.
is that a form of fear? Am I fearful of doing the task, or am I really just I don't have the energy for it, or I think that I don't have the energy for
Well,
it?
you can convince yourself of anything. So
Yeah.
that's one thing we do know. Like, if you might actually have the energy for it, but your brain is going to get together with you and be like and convince you that you don't. But
Right.
I really just feel like it has to do with being comfortable, like instant gratification too. So
Mhm.
you'll, instead of foregoing the pain or foregoing the pleasure in the moment, you just go with the pleasure in the moment. I'm not really worried about what I have to do. I'm worried about this moment.
Mhm.
And so I feel like it's a combination of all those things. It's being comfortable, like you are comfortable with whatever's going on in the moment. I know if I sleep the whole day, then I'll be sleep the whole day and I'll be well rested. And I know for a fact I won't get any of those things done, but I'm more comfortable with the fact that I know what's going on. If you do all of those things that you're supposed to be doing, you have no clue what's going to happen. You could do all those things and achieve everything that you wanted. You could do all those things and fail. Either way, you don't. That's the realm of the unknown, and a lot of people don't want to step into that.
Okay.
And it's on a subconscious level. You're not
Right.
even thinking like, oh, I'm not doing what I want to. I'm not doing those things that's going to bring me closer to my goal because I don't really know what's going to happen when I achieve my goal. You're not consciously thinking that, but I feel like that's a part of it.
Yeah, that's the story that's being told that you haven't heard
Yeah,
yet.
that you exactly the story that's being told that you never heard. Exactly. And
Right.
we talked about in our first episode, even though
Mhm.
every episode is the first episode, that your mind is constantly telling you things and that you're not even here. Well, not telling you things. Your mind is constantly running these background programs without your knowledge.
These algorithms,
Yeah, and it's
these
doing it
organic
because of
algorithms.
efficiency, because
That's
it
I'm gonna coin that phrase.
organic
You heard it
algorithms.
first here on the Evil Ego
Go
Hour.
our podcast.
Organic algorithms.
Organic algorithms.
These programs in your
Organic
brain.
algorithms. What is it?
These programs in your brain that cause you to do these automatic behaviors. Also known as habits, but I like to make it even more complicated and intricate and fucking stupid by calling it an organic algorithm.
And you just mentioned something about drives, right? I was listening to this lecture about how about time in general and how the modern world or how we are now has even changed the word instincts to drives, and it kind of implies that there's somewhere to go, that we need to be going somewhere. There is an end goal
Yeah,
when it comes to
behind your instincts.
right. And I feel like that kind of messed with us when they made that distinction, when they started calling shit drives, because you have to feel as though there is an end goal, which it's healthy to feel like there is an end goal, I believe, but that is also looming. Like that's a daunting thing
Yeah.
to have to feel like.
And it's crazy. I mean, I don't want to veer too much off of procrastinating. But people often I've talked to people who always say I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask them just simple questions like, what are you trying to do?
And they
And
don't really
strangely enough, a lot of people don't know what they're trying
like,
to
I'm
do.
just trying, like, I'm
They say,
just
I don't
trying to
know.
change shit. Like,
I
I
don't
just
know
feel
what
like,
not even that. Sometimes just sometimes just get so frustrated and I feel like I don't know what to do. I just can't. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing right now. And I'm like, okay, so what are you trying to do? Like, what are you getting at? And it's like, I don't know. I just know I need to be doing something. And that's kind of, I mean, I understand it because as humans we need something to wrap our minds around.
yeah, we
And it's
need
easy
a
to
goal.
wrap our minds around social media and shit, but we're all kind of tired of that. We're all on social media hours of each day, and we're checking it like dozens
Yeah.
and dozens of times throughout the day. So like, being on social media isn't really something to do. So but it's the thing that we do the most. But everybody wants to know like what do I have to do?
What is the thing
and
to do?
what do I do? And I'm like, well, you need to I don't know, like how you're supposed to be doing something, but you're not telling me what your goal is. What is it that you're trying to do? I mean, we make things so complicated.
Well, things are complicated. It's like this
Are they?
just the very fact that you have to come up with something to do, knowing that in the deep back part of your mind that you're gonna die. That is a conundrum. That is very like
Yeah.
hard to have to deal with, and you're not thinking of that consciously, of course.
Yeah.
But like just the fact that okay, I have to do something. I don't really know what I want to do. I know I have to do something, and like a lot of people get stuck in that in between thing. Like
Yeah, but okay, so then let's bring it back to fear. So we kind of came to the conclusion that it's not really laziness.
it's more so fear.
Even the laziness
all
is kind of.
I feel like all negative. Most negative behaviors come from fear. I'm only going to say most as like a caveat because I don't know. I want to talk a little bit more about it and get more in depth, but I feel like most negative traits, behaviors come from fear. That's like something that I've been. That's in like religious texts, you know what I mean? Like even in the story of like Adam and Eve, which we'll cover in another episode because that's going to be a part of Misinterpreted. I want to really get knee deep into that story.
Play the Misinterpreted.
Yeah, I mean we can drop the tag just for the hell of it. Misinterpreted. But so fear.
So. Sorry.
I love how we really sound like we know what we're talking about. Like we.
We're supposed to. I mean,
like,
shit. Nobody's gonna listen if we don't sound like we know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we're.
Anyways,
smart.
You fucking sucker. Fear and procrastination. So, how can we really tell if we're having a fear of failure or a fear of success? I mean, like, and which? Okay, so which one do you feel like your procrastination is rooted out of? Do you feel like a fear of? Do you fear a fear of failure that you will not accomplish your goals, that you will be disappointed in yourself and you will feel less of yourself? Or do you feel a fear of success and that your life will change too much because of where you will go, and you know you may have to leave people behind, or sometimes you don't know the type of person this type of situation will make you into. You know what I mean? Like where
like everything is going to be completely different, and you don't know what it's going to be.
Right. So what is
I think I suffer from the most?
Yeah. What do you think you suffer from? Fear of success or fear of failure?
That's a great question. I feel like my fears have morphed throughout the years. So it started off with a fear of what was the first one? Fear of success, and then just fear of failure. Yeah. Okay. So fear. It started off with a fear of failure. A long time ago, I was very afraid of, and that, I mean, when you're younger, that's more of an aspect of your personality anyway. Like, so, I mean, with guys, it's like, you know, that's why you don't approach women, you know, the fear of being turned down and stuff like that. But when it comes to what I want to do,
women experience that too, but they have a more social understanding.
Yeah. But when it comes to what I want to do in my life, when it comes to music, that fear of failure, in a lot of ways, actually drove me to perfect my craft. For a lot of people, it just cripples them, and they're not able to really get past that. But some way, I was able to utilize that and actually help perfect, you know, what I want to do with my life. So once I got over that hump, it's been, and I'd say the past maybe 2 years, it's been more so fear of success. And I feel like fear of success is way, it's worse in a lot of ways. I feel like it's because it's way more sneaky. Because once you get over the fear of failure and you start getting good at whatever you want to do with your life, the fear of success is in the background, and it'll actually make you justify whatever you're doing in the moment. So if you start procrastinating and stuff like that, you'll say, oh, well,
I'll be good
because, you know.
Yeah. I hear myself saying that all the time when I'm bullshitting.
Like, bro, I'm
when I'm bullshitting, and I feel like I haven't made progress, and I'm starting to get a little bit hard on myself. I remind myself like I'll be alright. I mean, like I'm pretty confident in my abilities.
It hides itself in your confidence.
But it's really just me, like, well, if you do put in this extra work, you may finish.
Right, and you know that. You always know these things on like a deeper level, I feel like, if you really, really want to get behind, if you really want to dig deep.
But digging deep is fucking exhausting.
It is very exhausting. It uses up that mental energy.
Yeah, like, I mean, we talked about that on the first episode.
Even though every episode is first episode.
Every episode is first episode. We're
but
this motherfucker.
I think, so that fear of success will, like, cloak itself in your confidence and pretend like it's just you being confident, when really, you're kind of procrastinating. You know that you don't know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't know that, but you don't know what's going to happen if you fully apply yourself and you cut yourself a break. Like, I don't have to fully apply myself because I'm the shit. So that fear of success
is what you're dealing with.
Is what I'm dealing with now, and I'm starting to deal with it more so face to face and drawing it out using that mindfulness that we were talking about.
Yeah, how are you? Because I agree. Like I feel like I've made that transition from fear of failure
to fear of success.
To fear of success, and that's what I'm dealing with right now.
And that is a way bigger hump to jump over.
Exactly. So what are you doing to get over this fear of success, like in your day to day, or like when you're about to do something, or when you're about to put, some music, whatever the fuck you're about to do.
Anything.
What are some things to alleviate that fear of success in you?
Well, it's very interesting because I feel like you have to kind of trick your ego a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go face to face with it. First, you have to acknowledge it, just like any issue that you might have. You have to acknowledge that you have a problem and that you're not always, you don't have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of things, when you have fear of success and it's cloaking itself in your confidence, you just think that you have it figured out. So you don't necessarily have to put in that work in the moment. Like, you can procrastinate a little bit, you know what I mean? And then, of course, that procrastination turns into a way bigger deal later on down the line. So what I try to do is all the things that I do fear, all those things that I have that automatic kind of fear response to. So maybe it's a book that I read that I'm supposed to read. And I know there's information in this book that'll help expand my thoughts so that I can get on this podcast and run it through my filter and talk about things from a different perspective.
Right.
Instead of, as soon as I feel that thing in the back of my head that's like, I don't have to read this right now, I can read it later. That mindfulness that we were talking about, identifying those thoughts, it almost is a marker now. If I hear that thought go off, it is an indication that I have to do whatever I'm saying that I have to put off. Regardless of the situation.
Regardless of what excuses, regardless of all these logical ass reasons.
Great. You can come up with the best reasons on why.
And that's how we are some creative ass motherfuckers. Like, just the excuses that we come up with. And, like, it's impressive. I mean, sometimes I'm like, damn, you really...
Very complex.
You are really witty to just be able to convince yourself to put something that you feel like is your purpose in life at the moment...
on the back burner for...
And to put it on the back burner for some leisure.
Some instant gratification, whatever. So, now I'm getting to the point where when that thought pops up, it's almost a trigger. And I smile like... okay, you know what you're doing. Come on. Like, read that shit. Come on.
And then you're thinking to yourself, oh, no. And you're just like,
no, I know, I really can.
Nah, come on, just chill out.
Like, chill out, bro. You know what you're doing.
Yeah,
I'm starting to catch myself. And that goes from analyzing your thoughts. That goes from not trying to be caught up in just the process. And
it takes some detaching.
It does take detachment because
detaching from your thoughts. You need to detach from your thoughts.
Because it's so complex. The fear is so complex.
And I think that's how you get rid of most fear, is to detach yourself from the thoughts that are going on in your head. And I think that's like a huge step.
Well, detachment and approaching it too, though. There's been studies and stuff. Of course, we're always
You're
going to say
right,
there's
because
been studies.
devaluation is not the same as detachment.
Right. Exactly. You have to.
Devaluation. Listen
right.
to me.
I'm listening.
Devaluation is not the same as detachment.
So
Detachment
get into
keeps
that.
the value of whatever it is that you're detaching from.
Yeah.
And it keeps the value there, but it lowers the stakes that you feel like you have in it.
Mm-hmm.
Devaluation is you making less of whatever it is that you're defending yourself against, because devaluation is a defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
And one way, and this is something that I had to confront in myself, especially with people, and I'm a Virgo ass motherfucker, so especially with people, when I may feel something about somebody I care about, and I just really can't stand them.
Mm-hmm.
One of my defense mechanisms is to make that person smaller
Discredit
in my
them.
life. And they're just their purpose in my life, anything that they're doing in their life.
I don't need you. Like,
yeah, and and it's always been like, I don't need you. Like, you're like, you do nothing. Oh, you're like, even if you do, you know what I mean? Like, I just stopped caring.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very toxic form of it's a very toxic defense mechanism, because whenever I face some type of quarrel, or some pushback from like my friend of mine, I start to it's like I start devaluing who they are to me,
and it's almost automatic.
and I'm not, and I convince myself that I'm convincing myself that I'm
detaching from the situation.
Exactly. I'm convincing myself that I'm detaching from the situation or detaching from them, when I'm really just making less of them.
Right.
And that's not detaching from them.
Yeah, that's not healthy.
That is, and it's very important to notice.
And I'm going to ask, where do you think you started that? Does that come? Do you think that's always?
That's something
draws back to your parents always.
It could draw back to my parents, but it's been reinforced other places in my life too. I mean, with friends, falling out with friends, and being shunned from like certain groups of friends for no apparent reason. People, bullying shit. Just like my way of my way of coping with bullshit in life is to not care about it. So, when I was younger, I had a fucking dandruff problem, and my way of coping with it was to not care about my hair, which is like, dude, you should probably take care of that shit. But my way of
some of the justification that you had in your head, like
some of the justification was like,
niggas, man.
I mean, it was also like I was trying to take the high road. I was convincing myself like, oh, if they think of problems with my hair, they're really not true people. And it's just like, come on.
fucking flakes all over your shoulders.
Yeah,
you're like, y'all niggas that's not even woke for real.
Y'all not even real people if you can't look past this. You know what I mean? And it's like,
y'all ain't really my friends.
Although that's like slightly, that's partially true. As far
partially true, but that's
true on their end, but not on my end. Like I shouldn't be doing that. I should probably just take care of my situation and just keep it going. But I shouldn't devalue my own health and wellness for just to make myself feel better.
So it should always be about you, for one, and you have to recognize when fear, and fear will take so many different forms. That's why it's so tricky. But you have to start recognizing when fear creeps its way into your psyche, and that's actually dictating your moves, as opposed to you.
Exactly. I agree.
So I like that. The
bagels are done.
What bagels?
I want that to be a thing, and because I heard the toaster ding earlier, and it sounded cool. So I think we should have whenever we wrap up a point.
The bagels are done.
The bagels are done.
Oh, okay. You heard it here first. We just added a drop to the thing. Anyway, I really like that, and also, I don't know. I feel like we're often thinking about the future, we're often thinking about like what's the next plan of action, what are we going to do next,
Mm-hmm.
and that is just so overwhelming that it's just easier to smoke. Like, hey, I'm gonna smoke right now. I'm just gonna smoke right now and watch TV right now, because that I know how to handle that. I don't know how to handle what I'm, taxes, what I'm gonna do a year from now, what I'm gonna do 5 years from now. Everything's about you. You gotta make a plan. You gotta have everything step by step, and sometimes that's just overwhelming. The world in general, all the stimulus, what is it, stimuli?
Stimuli.
All the stimuli that we experience on the day to day is already overwhelming. Now you're telling me what I have to do in order to be, considered an acceptable member of society. You're telling me I have to get a job. You're telling me, which are things that I should want. That's when it just goes back to, this is what you should be doing for yourself. It's not, if it involves anybody else, then that's where the fear comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, procrastination. So how can we get over that? Besides the levels of mindfulness that you have to, besides cultivating a healthy level of detachment,
Mm-hmm.
detaching from it, then analyzing, okay, what is the purpose of this? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Then making small incremental changes to try to change the issue overall.
Mm-hmm.
What other things?
I mean,
that's about
I
it,
think
right?
is let's just take the law. I mean, the path.
Break it. You have to
Of
break it down, right?
I mean, I think it's just taking the path of least resistance and taking the shortest route to point A to point B. Point A is procrastination, not doing something.
Mm-hmm.
The only way to really get past point A is to take action.
Right.
Like, literally is to do something. I mean, when you recognize that you're procrastinating, you have to make it your number one priority. You just have to do something immediately.
So really, it's about
I mean, I think we sometimes, like in this day and age, as we're getting more and more mentally aware of the world around us and within us, and in between
the
all
world
of us.
around us and within us.
I think as we
because we are far more complex than we give ourselves credit for. Huh?
How you like those bagels?
The bagels are definitely done. I love that. Like the world within us. We have to understand, and I truly believe this, that the world within us is far more complicated than the external world.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, I think the world within us is a direct.
well, of course.
Well, I think the world outside of us is a direct reflection of the world within us.
Yeah, of course.
Because it rises from the.
But then also, your world, what you see externally, is also a direct projection of how you see yourself. Because, if shit's going bad in your life, then you see everything as bad. Even you can go outside and just automatically feel like it's too fucking hot out here. And like you realize like you're really upset about something else, and it creeps its way into all these other aspects of your life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but back to what I was saying. The world. I think as we get more and more aware and educated on just our mental capacity and everything going on in our heads. Ooh.
That pack.
I think as we get more aware of our psychology and mental awareness and things of that nature, we can start to become quite obsessive and too caught up within what everything means and what everything is happening. And I think the best way, I think we shouldn't think too much about it, because we can just pay too much attention to detail.
Paralysis through analysis.
Exactly, analysis paralysis. So we really need to simplify everything. And when you notice that you're procrastinating, just simply stop procrastinating by doing something. Do whatever it is that you're putting off, and just do it. Like there's like don't think, just do it. You say, oh shit, I'm putting off sending that email. Just get your ass up off that bed at that very moment.
At least start
and
to send the email.
Go send the email. Just do it. Just literally, just don't think anymore. When you've made the realization that you're procrastinating, stop thinking and just go do it. It's really as simple as that. We can analyze that, and that's cool for just understanding and seeing how tricky we are, and seeing the demon that we're facing. But at the end of the day,
you can do all of that sitting on your bed by yourself, and then actually not do any of the things that you
and you're procrastinating by analyzing your procrastination. And it's just like, maybe you know a little bit more about procrastination at that moment, but you're still procrastinating. Yeah. So what is the point of learning more about procrastination when you can't fucking fix the problem? So you fix the problem by just stop thinking about it. Stop just stop and just do.
Paralysis through analysis. I like that, man. We're on it. So I feel like everything. And this is kind of cool because these episodes are having are kind of linear. They have a narrative that's like tracking without us actually doing it, because a lot of things that we're talking about, we talked about in the first episode, even though every episode is the first episode, breaking these automatic patterns that our brains go into. So procrastination is a pattern that develops over time. You get used to doing it, and before you know it, it's instinctual to start doing it. So break it by just not even thinking. Just hop into it. Easier said than done, of course, especially if you're used to doing things the same way for years, which most of us are. We start doing something, and then there's no one around to tell us, like, there's no one around constantly telling us what to do. And that's part of the problem right there.
Yeah.
Like,
we don't have any coaches. We're
monitoring ourselves, like, and that's
it's a lot of responsibility, and it takes a lot of mental effort. Again,
all these things come about from us, and I did hear this like theory that privacy was one of the things that made us so that we developed all of these sexual kinks, like sexual fetishes. Because back in the day, I'm 13. We used to all be together, and
I think you like it was like a time skip or a time lag when you said back in the day. It's like you went immediately back to 2004.
Back in the day, and I had like pimples on my face out of nowhere. I think we used to be all together, and it used to be really communal, and we used to like change in front of each other, and we used to like hunt together, and we do a lot of talking. I know I do a lot of going off the topic, but we're always talking about the brain before all of this, like before the internet, before like hunter-gatherer,
before the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah, all of that stuff we talk about.
Capitalism.
And how our brains are really not used to what we're experiencing right now. They weren't set up.
I read a tweet that said capitalism has been around for like 1% of the time humans have spent on this earth.
1%.
And it has completely destroyed the world and our mental environment altogether.
Do you think destroyed or just altered? And do you
altered, destroyed,
because we don't
created.
know if it's going to be negative until far down the road. Like, we can say it's negative right now, but good and bad is like, you can say something's good right now and then it turns out to be bad, and you can say something's bad right now and it turns out to be good.
Yeah, so it's all subjective.
But it is a huge alteration.
An alteration. I will not say destroyed. Yeah. Besides,
there's certain things that it did destroy, though.
Yeah, like the fucking trees.
Yeah, but, we can't say that.
But it definitely has caused a huge alteration on the human experience, and it's very interesting how far an idea can travel within just human history and how we interact with each other, and
An
it
idea like
govern
what?
an idea will govern our existence.
You mean like capitalism?
Yeah, the idea of capitalism has governed like human existence to a level that is very menacing and very
How did we let
dark.
Yeah, how did we let I think it's all under the guise of efficiency. Again, like efficiency is really tricky. It's really like kind of like you said, it's a little menacing because you can see something and just because it's the best way to do it, or it would seem like it was the easiest and best way to do it, should you do it that way? Like all these different cultures adopted capitalism. Actually, do a lot of cultures
And at least some form.
of right
There's some form of capitalism
under.
in a lot of places in this world.
And you would say it's because it kind of makes the most sense. You know, you get what you
It's self-fulfilling.
work for. Yeah, you know,
It's it's self-fulfilling and perpetuating, just to adopt any type of idea of doing something for your own benefit.
Right. So and it also gives you like a sense of pride, like you know you're working for this money. But we know there's so many dangers that go with it that almost outweigh the benefits. It's like the benefits is that we can sit here and do a podcast. Like you know the simple benefits that we experience as Americans, and then the risks and the dangers of it are almost catastrophic. And it's like
if you're thinking about it holistically,
right? And we're like, oh, okay, but it's efficient though. It's like, yeah,
but you're missing out on the
guess.
fact that you're exploiting the entire world, and you're also exploiting yourself.
And I feel like that's always the best way to look at something is holistic. Why it doesn't holistic literally mean like whole, like all,
like literally encompassing all components. That's the essence of holistic, is to
like you take some of these words and it's like, yeah, we should be doing that.
Yeah,
like that just makes sense.
Let's pull up the definition here of holistic.
Okay, holistic. Characterized by the comprehension of the parts of something as intimately interconnected and explicable only by reference to the whole. Bruh. Alright, now I'm really about to break this shit down.
Let's go. Break it down.
So, you have all these foreign bacteria in your body that are, just to start from your stomach, you have all these different bacteria in your stomach that are like working together, that are don't even have your DNA. These are foreign substances in your body that are regulating your digestion. What you looking for?
I'm looking for the weed pen.
Nikaira, can he hit the weed pen?
The what?
The weed pen.
Oh yeah.
Where is it? Oh, it's right here.
Oh, that's yours, Nikaira. I apologize.
Yeah, mine doesn't have any oil in it. So you have all these things working together as one to regulate your digestion. Then you have all these cells in your skin that are coming together and they're working together. And then you have the different levels of your brain. Let me get that. You have these different organisms in your body that are all working together, and you don't see any of that when you look at yourself. You look at yourself in the mirror, you don't see the cells and shit. You don't see your immune system working. You don't see all that stuff as one. But you know your body is made up of all these different organisms working as one to form you. We have all these people working as one to form a city. We have people who actually build the city. Then we have people who
Mitochondria.
Well, yeah, you can relate them back to cells. We have businesses that are ran by people, all these different people with these different
tissues,
perspectives, these different things coming together as one.
These tissues which form this organism that we call New York City.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So you look at it like that, you know that everything works holistically. It works because everything's working at once. But when you see it, you're not identifying with that directly. But you know it is a truth. You know that's one of the truths that we have in this world. Your body is made of that. Your city, everything, your existence is made of all these things working at once. But for some reason, we completely abandon that when it comes to certain concepts like capitalism. You know what I mean? Like capitalism is kind of based on you as an individual. What can you bring? Well, I guess that's kind of like the same thing, right?
Well, no, it's
because it's like what can you contribute to the overall, but that's
yeah,
not really what
in capitalism, it's more about climbing. It's more about you climbing your environment, you climbing within this organism to reach a place where, to reach wherever you're trying to get at the expense of other parts of this organism. So if we have
at the end of the rope, it isn't you turning around and bringing other people up. It's just you finding another rope to climb to get even higher.
Yeah, it's like more so. It's like you're walking up you're let's say you're scaling like a brick wall. Every thing that you grab and step on, that brick is falling out. And by the time you reach to the top of this brick wall, there's no wall because you tore every fucking thing down.
Right.
And that's essentially what capitalism is, or that's what capitalism teaches you.
And now you're at the point where you're still rising. You don't even need the wall, but...
And then sometimes that fucking wall comes crashing down on you, and you have to try to build a wall with underneath you. And it's just, you just end up fucking destroying the very thing that you love so much that you wanted to climb on top of it and scream. Like, while you're climbing up and you're moving at the expense of other people, and you want, you're doing this because you want your family to have something nice, and you want all this shit. And then next thing you know, your family is living in a shitty ass world that you created because you were moving at the expense of everybody around you.
Well, let me play devil's advocate. Sorry. Isn't there always going to be suffering? Isn't there always going to be somebody who has the short end of the stick? Like when it comes to if I'm trying to go up, and there's people that are like with me and they're not on the same wave or whatever, and aren't some of those people naturally going to suffer? Like,
well, yes. I won't say suffering can be eliminated. I don't think suffering...
You should just do it in a way that reduces as much suffering as possible.
I think it's just a matter of consideration and a matter of balancing. It's just being considerate that somebody else is suffering at your expense. And you shouldn't put your success much higher than the expense of somebody else's success, and your success shouldn't make one person suffer to the point where they fall out of the brick wall of what you're climbing. So you may have to pay somebody some shitty rates while you're climbing up, but that doesn't mean you always have to do that. That doesn't mean as McDonald's becomes, it now is located in every continent in the world.
You can pay some shitty rates, but then you can provide them some type of incentive, like, hey, you can get a day off. Or something.
Or like, you have healthcare, or, and McDonald's is starting to do some shit like that, but, you can raise the minimum wage across the board for anybody who works at McDonald's. You know what I mean? You don't have to do these things. It's, instead of upgrading the appearance of all the McDonald's in the world and making everything look modern, everybody can get like a certain pay raise that can allow them to actually live off of this job. You know what I mean? There's certain things that capitalism, there has to be a social consciousness to capitalism. That's actually something that Bernie Sanders was actually pushing, but I'm not advocating for Bernie Sanders, even though I did vote for Bernie.
Yeah.
But there has to
the
be
government doesn't even give a fuck about Bernie Sanders. So
yeah, but yeah, there has to be a certain awareness and a compensation for on the back end for these things to exist for a sustainable amount of time, or for these things to be sustainable.
now this is where we approach like the conundrum of it all, because if I have to think of all of those things before I work on myself, or while I'm working on myself, I also have to think of all those things. Doesn't that play back on, if I'm thinking of all of these things, I can't really propel myself forward because it becomes too overwhelming. A part of you, in order to excel, you have to kind of shut that part of yourself off. Like, you have to make yourself an individual and focus on just you in order to propel yourself forward.
But focusing on just you, it's funny because yeah, you have to focus on just you, but you are also a part of a whole.
Right.
So
so it's never forgetting that.
You are a part of this whole, so the whole is a part of you.
Yeah.
So there's no avoiding being considerate of other people. It's just a matter of how you go about it. I mean, you may have to pay somebody shitty, and you can just say, "Hey, I gotta pay you this shitty thing. I can't do it unless I pay you this shitty thing." But
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to make things right. But right
And
now
sometimes
things
just
aren't
saying
gonna.
it, like,
Yeah,
talking to
like
them,
yeah. There's people appreciate transparency these days, and people will honor you for it. People have, at least in my experience, people have honored me for my transparency with them. When it comes to business, or when it comes just anything, is there's a need for transparency. People are very on edge these days about like who to trust and things like that. So like being transparent is people are receptive to it, and people know that sometimes things are shitty, but they sometimes are shitty before they get better. And if you are a person who is just mindful, and it doesn't really have to be I mean, yeah, it will end up being you being mindful, but it doesn't take that much effort to just try to balance out everything that you take away from life. So you may take away like, somebody working for you in your business, and they're getting paid shitty, but you can give back on the back end and say, oh, okay, I'm going to treat them to this because they deserve this.
So all it is it being mindful, at least, of that, keeping that in mind, because you're not going to be able to fully commit to it every moment. But as long as that's the goal, like I always say, as long as that's like in the end you're doing it so that you can provide for more people, that you're giving back to the whole, I feel like, for one, that's just a beautiful way to live. Just one, like, you're gonna go throughout life cultivating different things that involve other people, and automatically when you see something that you like, you're like, you want to tell somebody else. So other people are automatically just a part of our experience. Like we can't live without other people. The worst thing you can do to somebody is put them in solitary confinement. Like,
yeah, it's isolation
we need other
as
people.
hell. Yeah.
So it should always be about you to be about other people. That's why I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, and not to even make it seem like
and it could be your family, like it could be directly like people you know, or people your blood or whatever. But I feel like you are a channel for the other people. Like,
when
to help other people.
As you walk throughout life, there should be like, and just for a metaphor, just because it's easy to explain it this way, but there should be fucking flowers and grass and trees growing as you walk throughout life, instead of all of them dying as you pave your way through them. Right. Because when you're walking through life and you're being mindful of the ground that you're walking on, you will plant seeds in this ground that you're walking on, and you will make sure that this path can be traveled by other people, and it can, this is something that creates life as you're traveling through. So when you're interacting with people, you should be good for people.
As long as you're trying to live like this.
Yeah.
If you're trying to live like this, like those parts of your brain that are in charge of your the shit that you do instinctually, it'll latch onto this, and it'll say, okay, so this is how you wants to live. Okay, I can start saving this data, and you'll
Yeah,
if you
just make it
act
your
it out
intention.
first, yeah, if that's your intention, we have to set more intentions definitely like in the day, and then try to act them out. And if people don't, and they underestimate the acting things out, like acting things out first before you can actually do it. If you act it out, you'll just do it. You'll learn to do it because of those parts in your brains that latch on to shit. But
fake it till you make it.
I wanted to talk, and I wanted to end on trust, because this has been a great podcast. Another one.
Yeah,
like,
this one's actually really fucking long, but this is...
Yeah, actually, it hasn't.
Gotta lay it there, man.
It hasn't been, it's only been like 50 minutes.
50?
Yeah.
Only?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because we would have been done, but that other shit happened. But
yeah.
Trust. And you said something earlier about I'm also high now. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you said something about what is it? You said transparency. Damn, how'd you know? Yo, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have a girlfriend, but I also have like another
best friend.
girlfriend.
I'm not your girlfriend.
That's what the car be doing.
I think we're just soulmates. No homo.
That shit's crazy. Transparency, right? Trust. Why? There's a reason why transparency is the most important thing, and it's more important now than ever. And I heard this theory that trust is the most valuable commodity in human existence. And when he said it, it just made perfect sense to me, because you know, and he explained it through, it can be explained through a lot of ways, but he explained it, shout out to Dr. Jordan Peterson, but he explained it
He's
through,
a doctor now?
He's a psychologist.
I didn't know that.
And he explained it through eBay and the boom of eBay. Like, at first they used to hire brokers to kind of stand in between the eBay deals to make sure everything, like, the person was given the right shit off and it wasn't damaged and stuff, and the person receiving it wasn't crazy. You know, they would have people be as brokers on these deals, but eventually the need for them just went away, because people were just actually doing the right thing. Like, they wouldn't have issues in terms of like the stuff that they would receive. There would be no problems. It would come exactly how the person said. So the need for brokers fell away, and then eBay boomed, all based off of trust. But that's can be taken like way back when we were talking about trust. Like, that's the most valuable. If I can look at you and trust that you are what you say you are, that's the biggest thing. That's what relationships are based off of. That's what trade is based off of. That's what's like. So when you look at it like that, it makes me really put a heavy focus on trust and why it is important, and how you trusting yourself, like knowing and that's why mindfulness is important, because you have to really.
It's funny because trusting yourself.
Do you trust that you doing what you're doing based off of what you want to do, and not some external thing affecting you or another person? It's crazy,
this
right?
Is perfect, because I guess I just want to focus on trusting yourself. I think that's that would be the most fruitful conversation. Well, I mean, whatever. Actually, let's talk about trusting other people first, and then let's end on trust in yourself, because I know what I'm gonna
trusting
say.
Other people.
Other people. What do you look when you trust? What is your trust for somebody? What are the components of that trust you have for them, or like describe your trust for somebody?
That's what I'm saying. It's really deep, because you have to trust that what they're saying about you is correct. You have to trust that you are putting off what you are consciously thinking out into the world, because sometimes what you're thinking and what you put off are different, and you think that they're the same, and somebody's telling you no, it's different, and you have to trust them. Like, okay, maybe you know me more than I know myself, because you're observing me. You know more. These are the people that people that you really trust. You know, not just random trust. We can talk about that later. Like just side trust with random people. But when it gets to that deep level, it becomes almost imperative that like that trust has been established early. And especially when you go down the line and you start having these relationships with people for a long time, that becomes the most important thing. So, but how do you want to tie it into trusting yourself? Because what's the important?
Okay, so with trusting, I just wanted to say what I feel like me trusting in somebody else is. There's a few things. There's only two things I can think of right now, but some may pop up. The first thing is I have to trust that they have a fucking brain, and that they are at an intellectual level where I know that they're reasoning their decisions, or the motivation behind their decisions is something sound. I have to be able to trust that they can make that decision.
So that comes in a way, you have to respect them a little bit.
I have to respect their intellect.
Respect is trust, but
I have to know that their intellectual capabilities is where mine is, or it's at a level that I just, this imaginary line that I draw for smart enough. Right. That's the first thing, and then I have to trust. And then I have to trust, or I have to agree and align with their intentions in life, or I guess within our relationship. I guess both. I have to trust their intentions with our relationship and in life in general. Because your intentions in life will, your intentions with people will be a reflection or a projection of your intentions in life. Yeah, definitely. So if your intention in life is to climb no matter what, then I can't expect it to personal interaction with you. Yeah. Because
I'm a tool.
In this relationship with you, I'm always going to be a tool. There's
I'm
no
a step on
there's
on
no
the stairs,
family building. There's no community and communion built, and that's not your focus in this relationship. Which is not
it's not good or bad.
It's not really good or bad. It's just where we're coming from. You know what I mean? Those are the things that I look for when it comes to trusting somebody, is how smart they are at the end of the day, and what are their intentions in their life and with the people in their life.
Those are the two main points.
Those are the two main things.
So when you relate it back to trusting yourself.
So when it comes back to trusting yourself, I think that's when the ego comes into play, and I think that's when the ego is formed in a way that.
Oh, that's so perfect.
That next episode. Yeah. So I really feel like the only way you can trust in yourself is to build an ego that is good for you. I mean, because it's like we get depressed in life when the person that we are. Or basically the person that we are is no longer good, and it's really just your ego not being equipped for this phase in your life that you are.
The ego is who you think you are. The ego is the suit that you put on.
Exactly, and in order for you to establish trust, you have to create this ego that will allow you to live this life, and with happiness and peace. And so it's like once people have a hard time with ego death, is because this ego that they created, they once trusted, and once what helped them get through life, it's no longer working, and now that it's no longer working, they feel
don't
like
know who they are.
This lost. It's not even that it's lost; it's that you're frustrated that life is not working out with this ego that you built to handle it. So now you're just like, oh fuck, well. Life is shitty, and then it can come down to you saying, oh well, actually I'm shitty because I created this ego and this person that no longer can work for me, but it was not working for me.
You see it as that, or you either see it as life is happening to you, fuck life or fuck me.
Yeah, it's like either fuck life or fuck me, but when it comes down to fuck me, and it's when you start losing trust in yourself, it's you think that, damn, I'm not even the person that's good for this life. But it's really you trained your life in a certain manner up until this point, and when you got to this point, it no longer was working, and you took that as, oh, I'm not good enough.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, oh, this worked once, now I need to adjust it according to my situation. And then that's where ego death and ego rebirth come into play, is because now you have to start throwing away those parts of you, those parts of your ego that aren't working anymore, and you have to give birth to this new ego that is more equipped for this life and this existence that you're
and you
participating
can
in.
do it. You can fucking do it. You can do it. You have to
Take a lot of
actually say
what
what you say there?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Whatever you may or may not have said, I completely agree with. But I think you have to
Trust. That was trust.
Trust and know that, well, a lot of people don't have this, but trust that you can do it, for one. But also, even if you don't know that you can do it, don't trust that you can do it. Do it anyway. Because, like, you're here to do it.
What you got to lose?
That's what I'm saying. What do you have to lose besides your life? You're going to die. That's what I'm saying. I see it very, like, aggressively. I see it, you either living or you're dying, bro. If you're living, then you have to live. You have to actually do this shit. You have to say, all right, well, you had this thing in your back of your head. You're like, oh yeah, I know I need to be doing this, but I know I can just so. Boom, that other voice is gonna kick in like, hey, no, you need to live. So if you're living, do what you say you're gonna do. Fucking break your cycles and let's fucking get it.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna die, then fucking die. Like, go ahead and die, and just die every day, and die and be in hell every day. Live or die. Evil Ego Hour podcast.
Wow, you're rough, man.
Yeah, so that was a little savage, but
you're rough. But it's
true. I felt it.
It's true. No, it's true. You gotta do it, man. You just gotta do it.
You gotta do it, man. Now we sound like fucking like people on a suicide hotline. Yeah, man, you gotta do it. Kill myself? No, I mean, like, you gotta do it. Like, you gotta
live.
Yeah, you gotta live. You gotta get hype.
Yeah.
You gotta turn up.
Yeah.
We're about to eat Indian food. Thank you guys for joining us again. Sorry if we got a little long-winded.
The bagels are done.
Technical difficulties still turned into an amazing audio show. Thank y'all.
That's what we call it. Podcast.
Yeah, Evil Ego Hour audio show.
Evil Ego Hour, bitch.